Hello people of YouTube. Alright, my name's Shannon. This is my second video getting posted. The first one I posted was the ride I'm going down the little full driving truck uphill. But today I've got this motor here. Been on this ride on probably roughly 2 years, and it's finally called the number on me. It's turns over and stuff. I think the valves just need a bit of work. It means today we're going to pull this one off and hopefully put another one on, and the motor we're going to be putting on will be a push mower motor. The reason why I'm putting one of them on is because I've done it before. I've actually got 2 other mowers laying just behind the camera I've done them with, and I might show them a little bit later on with the video, but we'll get on with this one. Means I've already unbolted everything to this motor. It was just much easier to do it that way than try to film at the same time because of how tight underneath here is. But all we're going to basically do is I'm going to try to use the endless chain to lift it, or other people call it a come along. It's expecting what other people prefer to use it as, the name. But I'm also just working with what I got. The only power tool we're going to use today is just to winch this up and down. I'm not planning to use any more past this point. I can do it by hand, it just takes much longer. But also with this type of motor too, this is a little Honda motor. It's a 1.5 motor. It means that's roughly 270 cc's. And that's pretty good for what I use this for. It was just a little beat around the bush mower, that was about it. I didn't use it too much more than that. I think this would be too hard to lift up at the moment. Can I actually lift this? Much lighter than I remember. Basically the motor comes out fairly simple. We can just push this away now. Means this is not even the original motor for this ride on. This motor is actually off a different ride on. If I got a photo of that, I might post it later. But here's the information on the back of it about what type of motor it is and all that. And I think I use this one for mostly towing and all that, for trees and all that. That's what I mostly used this mower for, was a towing mower. But saying that, let's get on to the other motor, what we're going to use. I'll go collect that now. What? Got nothing better to do. Alright, so like I said, it's just a little push mower, little Victor. This one's is only 148 cc's. It's a very small motor. But what we're planning to do today is basically pull it off the frame it's on and bolt it to where my tool bag is sitting. Now I'll show you some of the other mowers I've done, but they're very simple to bolt up. Same with the ride-on motors. Means, for example, I got one just sitting at the back here. This one's actually all bolted up. You can see the pulley underneath it. It just runs off all the same running gear. The only thing you normally have to do is just put a kill switch on them. This is only one of the 2. I do have another one with the same setup. This one does have a bonnet. It's the exact same setup. Like I said, just bigger motor. They do run. I just prefer to have my other one going. And that's because the other one has 4-wheel steer. Makes life a bit easier. Means all mowers and all that all got basically the same setup for the motors. For anyone who hasn't worked on a push mower before, there's a set of blades underneath. You're not on a deck. You normally have to pull them off. The ride-ons normally have the same thing. But after you get the blades off, you're just left with the spindle underneath. And this motor does turn over. She does run. I have made sure. But all it is 3 simple bolts, and they could be ranging from 11mm to a 12mm. With your ride-on mowers, they're normally bigger. They go from a 12 to a 14. The ones we were sitting on the old Honda motor were 14s and 12s. There were 2 different sizes, and that's millimeters. I don't know what it is in any other size. That's just the sizing I know off the top of my head. But the very nice thing about the mower we are putting this motor onto today, it has, I think I mentioned it has 4-wheel steer. And that's another reason why we're getting it going, because it makes life a bit easier, especially when you're trying to beat around trees and stuff. Sorry guys, I thought I pulled out a 11mm earlier, but I clearly didn't. I must have put it back in without realising. Here's one. Okay, so I'll show you the bolts underneath. Means there's occasionally a big bolt just sitting up in here, and you have to remove that to get the bottom deck off it. And you've got these 3 motor bolts. You've got 1, 2 and 3. So all you really need is just a simple 11mm. I'll just put the camera down over here. Now, I haven't seen any YouTube videos of people actually putting a push mower motor on a ride-on. So I thought I might make one, because it's not very common to see them. I actually came across this one time. I was just playing around with a old mower and stuff, and I ended up finding out the running gear and everything's very simple to put on. You can do this with an impact or a rattle gun or a drill. I just chose to do it this way today because it's the way I used to do it. It used to be much easier. Now, you probably did see when I pulled the other motor off, it still has its pulley underneath. Now, that's still underneath there because it can fit through the hole for the mower deck, for the mower frame itself. If they fit through, they'll just pull straight up and out like that one did. If they do not, they've got the exact same setup as your push mower motors. They just simply debolt. Now, occasionally you have to find a way to lock the motor for a minute just to break that nut free, because they're torqued down to a certain amount of foot-pounds. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I might research that soon. But they're torqued down to the point where you can't do it by hand. Like, you need to get a rattle gun or something on it, and 9 times out of 10 they're reverse threaded. So instead of being lefty loosey, they're righty loosey, and that makes it much more difficult, especially when you're just starting to work on them. But the motors can take a bit of a bashing. This is my first time actually putting a Victor motor onto a ride-on frame. I normally don't do the Victors. I've had a couple of bad lucks with them, but I am going to give this one a go because I picked it up for free. I got it off a got it out of a skip bin. Someone was just throwing it away. I asked them what was wrong with it. They said the bottom deck piece was unbalanced. And I went, okay then, I'll just take it off your hands. I've got another job for it. I might have one at home. I brought it home, realised I didn't have a spare deck plate. I think that's what you call it, the deck plate. And I just simply just left it how it was. Now the motor's debolted, I'll just put the phone back up here. Now it's just simply debolted. This can go on, but we won't do that just yet because we have to try to find a pulley what will fit. So we'll place that off to the side. Now some motors will have this little metal ring and they have these little spaces on them. Now the spaces are for the cutting the old blades on the bottom because the shaft is a little bit longer than what some normal shafts are. And the shaft is the part that comes out through the motor. I'll show you that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But now there's nothing left. That's where the motor was sitting. Now I can choose to scrap that or use it for another job. Now talking about the motor, I'll put the endless chain back up and then I can hang it off it. Just saves me trying to hold it up for long periods of time. Okay. Now this is my first time recording. This video might go a bit longer than some others. But this is called your shaft down here, this part. Now sometimes these bottom parts are pullable. You can take these parts off and you can use them for other mowers. That's what I'm planning to do here. If I can't get it off, I'll work something else out. But it's okay to have the motor hanging like this. It's just bad if they're upside down, and that's an issue. Now coming back to the other motor, how I was talking about the spindle under here. Well, this one can come out with the motor because it was smaller than the hole what's in the bottom of the mower here, and I will show that now. Now, this hole here is the hole I'm speaking about. Now, I can put it, now I don't have very big hands, but that's a decent size hole. And they can easily slide through that up and down. There are some pulleys out there that are really, really big and they won't fit. And there's some pulleys out there that are pretty small and they'll slide straight through. I think that might be the case on this mower here. I'm just going to put you guys upside down to have a look. See how that one's really, really big? Oh, this one here. That won't fit up through the top hole. But this is actually upside down. Means this is meant to be the other way around. The small one's meant to be up the top. And this one's meant to be on the bottom. Because that's for a mower that had a cutting deck on it. But because it doesn't have a cutting deck on it no more, because you can't get to some places with them on, we remove them. Now, a couple of special things about this mower. Oh, I'll just balance back up the phone again. Is it has four-wheel steer, and that's what I was speaking about. All four wheels turn. Now, when you're fighting through bushes and stuff and trying to get through tight corners, that is much better than your typical ride-on, because like a typical ride-on, you got the front wheels what steer, you got the back ones what don't, and that's okay. That's some normal ride-ons. Just this one is a bit more special. But getting off that subject, we'll drop this motor in and we'll see what we can line up for it. Now, I already know for a fact the pulley I have on the original motor will not fit. Means that mower I just showed you guys, we might steal the pulley off that. Because that motor is a bit weak on the other ride-on. Now, I got that one weak. She was never a strong motor. It wasn't very happy with life when I first picked it up. But that's another video for another day. Okay. Now, one thing you will run into with some mowers is the plates, means the engine plates, that's what's here, what has the big hole in it. They normally don't have the smaller stud pattern for push mower motors. Now, there's a couple of ways you can work around it. You can line up a couple of holes and just send it, hope for the best. If that is not an option, you will have to drill holes. Now, this is a solid mower frame. It will not affect it too much if it's not too close to any other holes. But because I'm going to try to line it up without drilling any holes, because I prefer not to, that's a lot of work and a lot of effort. But if we have to, we will. But hopefully we can just line this up, bolt it in. If we cannot, we're going to have to drill. Now, this is a little Britten Stratton motor, the little push mower one. The Britten Stratton's pretty good. I'm not going to dish them out, they've been around for a very long time. But they do have their own problems. I have seen a couple of them throw rods after a certain amount of time of running. I don't know the condition about this mower. All I know it was a push mowing mower, and it has seen some better days. Now, we will get this bolted down. We will start it after pulling it off the old frame it was on. Put it down, start it up. That's what I personally do. You don't have to do it. That's just what I do to make sure everything's okay, because it shakes them around a little bit, pulling them off other things. Some mowers you might have to set up a throttle for. This one I don't have to because it has its own throttle set up, and I will show that later on in the video. But we will try to get some more done on this. Okay. Well, we're not going to start bolting down just yet because we have to get a pulley to make sure our belt tension is okay. Now, this is a 7-speed manual transmission ride-on. Means I can tune it to where I can have the pulley really, really tight, or I can have it really, really loose for the speeds. And I much more prefer it that way. That's why this one's really good for what it is. The horse float actually beside us just here. Sorry about the clothes. This horse float here, I actually towed with that ride-on. I moved it around my yard. It made life very easy for me. But here comes the challenging part. We now have to try to find something what will work for this motor. Means we might have to rob parts off another mower. That is sort of what you have to do. You have to make a mower, destroy a mower. You have to destroy a mower to make a mower, I meant. And that's okay. Because some mowers are just designed to be together, some are not. Let's put this here. Now that little plate we're talking about, this one, what we can do is we can actually make a stud pattern. We put the motor on top of that. This might actually help me to find my other bolt holes if I want to try to use them, but it might not work. I still might have to drill 2 to 3 holes. But ideally you want to try to get 3 in for the motor's best standing point. But you can run some motors with only 2 bolts. You just have to make sure the 2 bolts you choose aren't right beside each other. This means let's say I choose this one here and this one here. It won't be very nice to the motor. But if there was a 4 patterned one, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd normally choose this one and this one, and then it holds the motor a bit more evenly. If you got a 3 stud like this Britten Stratton we're trying to put on, you sort of want to try to get all 3 for the motor's sake, because you can break the block. They're only aluminum or cast iron. I'm not 100% sure. It's very light, means it might be cast aluminum, but we will give this a go. Okay, means I have now made up a stud pattern. I am going to have to drill, but this is the rough stud pattern. That's what it would look like, and that's what we're hopefully going to go with. But you see how it has all the other holes? Well, some of those holes are for other motors. The little motor I actually had on this, the little Honda motor, is not the original motor. I actually had a twin piston on there and I blew that up. But that's sort of normal for them to blow up, because if you're working them hard at high revs, they don't like it very much. To where your Hondas and all that, especially your 8.5s, I've put them through a fair bit of abuse. This is actually not my first one, this is my second one. My first one died because I accidentally drove into a puddle. I drove into a puddle a bit deeper than I thought it was, and I cooked it. I bent a valve and everything else. And that's why that one is not still on this ride on. That was actually a really good motor, and that was a silly move by me. But this 5.8 has done its job for the last 2 to 3 years. It's towed a lot of dead trees. It has pulled a lot of mowers out of the mud, and it's also moved a big horse float. Now the frame has copped its model abuse. This is actually secondhand to me as well, and it should hopefully last a lot longer than some other frames I have used. I think I've snapped a couple of ride-ons in half. If you go and watch the video before this one, that little mower I was taking through the ditches, it did the gearbox. It was just a muck around mower. It was just one we put together one afternoon just to play with. And yeah, we ended up trying to gear it up and everything else, and it went very well. I think we did about 60 kilometers an hour on it, not in it. And that was pretty scary, but the video you guys will see on YouTube is the video of before we started to gear it up. But now we've upgraded to much bigger mowers. That mower was actually on the smaller side of things compared to the mowers we are working on today. Now I don't know what pulley system I'm going to use yet. I might use the one on that mower I showed you guys earlier. Now there's a couple of things with that one. It's a bit harder to work on, to try to get parts off. We might bring it over and work on it, I don't know yet. But saying that, I'm just going to quickly head over to the house in the background there. I'm going to go get a couple of drill bits and I will be back. it's gonna just roll because I don't know how to edit just yet. Okay, sorry about how long that took. Now I have the 2 drill bits I'm going to use. Preferable idea is to make sure they're a bit big, they're close to the same size as this. Bigger is always better. Now this little gold one I have in my hands, I can't read the writing on it, but it's a very decent sized drill bit paired to my finger. And this one is a 5/8, means a little bit bigger. This will probably be the size I'll go up to, and I'll probably try to find a bigger one, but I don't know yet. Okay, now I have this lined up. I'm going to put this in the drill. Now, if you don't, I know I said I'm going to try my best to not use any drills, and I really did. It's just, yeah, a lot of the time you just can't avoid it because of the circumstances you have to be in. Okay, so we have punched our beginning holes, I'm going to call them. Means there's 3 of them now, 1, 2 and 3. And what is that? It's going to start off as our guiding holes. Means now we can come in with that big 5/8 bit. We can just punch them through now. Hopefully that'll widen it up just enough to get the bolts through, and I'll just use the bolts to widen it open if I have to. Now I'd advise not to do that, but because this is not my first time putting these motors on a riding frame, I've sort of learnt the technique. Now we've punched it through our second set of holes. Whoops. I will go see if I can find a bigger drill bit just to drill these out to make life a bit easier, and then I don't have to run the bolts through. I will be back. Okay, I am back with a bigger drill bit. I don't know the rough size of this drill bit, but it should hopefully be, yeah, it's nearly the same size as the holes, means it'd be very close to bigger than the bolt itself. Okay, like I said, it didn't have to be too much bigger, it just had to be slightly bigger. Now the next part is just to see if your bolts will drop through. That one has, so that is very, very nice. Makes life much easier. Means now I can do one of two things. I can just do a quick mock bolt up, or I can bolt it straight away. I think I might do the bolt up straight away, because it makes life a bit easier to do everything else. So all we have to do that one is, so we just re-grab our motor. It's just here. It was just off screen. We lower it down, and we find what configuration it's going to sit in. I think it's going to sit in this configuration, means it's going to be a bit off-centered, and that is okay. It's not going to hurt the motor at all being off-centered, it's just going to make it look a bit weird. I've had motors off-centered before, they still run the same. I might have this motor around backwards. Give me a minute, guys. 1, 2. There we go. Now it is lining up. So what we're doing now is just putting in the engine bolts for them. The engine bolts are only roughly this big with a little 11mm head on them. Now that little spacer part we've just put on, that is actually to work with this part of the thread. Means what that's designed to do is when it threads up and in, instead of just binding up and stopping like most bolts are meant to, it'll do more of a pull down motion on it, on the motor, and that holds them on much better. Now, sometimes you might want to use red Loctite or blue Loctite. I don't have any. I've never used any on these. I've used them on other things. But this will work. It'll just thread in, make sure it's nice and snug, not over tight, not under tight. Because if it's under tight, it'll fall out. If it's over tight, you're going to strip out either motor or you're going to snap a bolt. And snapping a bolt is not fun. Now all I'm doing is just lining up the bolt holes. So I have put this motor on backwards on accident. This is the throttle cable we do have to put on for the motor if we want to. But like I said, this motor, for the style of the motor it has its own throttle linkage, what I prefer. I might have made a mistake here, guys. I might have put this motor bolt up system around the wrong way. So all I'm trying to do now is brace it and then I can check. You will be making mistakes like this doing this. Like I said, this is not my first time doing it and I still make mistakes. It might have been easier if I didn't just wing it and just put parts down and bolt them in. That would be my fault. Okay, means we're going to put two motor bolts in for now. I will drill out the other one in the future, or probably in this video. But all I'm trying to do on this video is put it in and start it up just to show you guys. Means this part's just going to take a little bit. I'm sorry I'm not talking too much, I'm just trying to concentrate. So all we're doing now is just bolting the motor up. This is normally the part that takes a little bit of time. It doesn't take too long. this part is optional. I'm just jumping from side to side, just tightening them down. It is optional. You can just run one side down on top of the other. It won't affect it at all. It just... It's expecting how quick you want the mower going to. If you want the mower going straight away after putting the motor in, you normally wouldn't take one bolt at a time like I am. You'll just quickly zip them all in. I've done these in the past with rattle guns and impacts and drills. It does speed up the process just a little bit. But I thought, if I'm going to do a video on how to do it for the general public to see, I just want them to see you can do it this way, and you don't need any fancy tools. You can just get away with a couple of spanners, sockets and ratchets. Nearly got this side bolted in, just I'd say probably another few turns and it should be in. Yeah, we're starting to tighten up now. Okay, that side is tight. Hey, baby. Are the ants attacking you again, baby? Come to Dad. Oh. Yeah, I got him. I got him. Is there any more? Just stay here with Dad. You're okay. I promise. There's no more on you, baby. There is. Where? Everywhere. Daddy shoot them all away. Okay, means the motor now is bolted on. C2 will hold it in. You will have a bit of play in it. And when I was talking about its own throttle linkage, oh, where is it? Just here. That's all the way open. That's all the way turned off. And we will start it up and you guys can hear it. I will put my phone down. What's up, Bubby? Oh. Is that better? Is that better? You'll be okay. Okay, something's not going on here correctly. We'll just cut off that bit of plastic. It doesn't really matter about the piece of plastic. It's just there for aesthetic looks. I'll be straight back. I don't know why it's seizing up, but it's only a couple of bolts to take off to clean to find out why. I did locate a 10mm earlier in this bag. It is a little bit difficult to locate them, but, well no it's not, it might be an 8mm. It's a size I'm not used to working with these ride-ons, or these mowers. She's still getting attacked by ants. Yeah, that's fine.
I can't get through.
It's still wet. I've been brushing up against it. Means at the moment I'm just trying to look for an 8mm spanner or something along those lines to do this next part. I think I might have one on here now. 8 means, no, that means in the other sizing, I think it's metric, or the other sizing anyway, it's a 8/6 means 5/16. Okay, means it is not fitting with the size 9, with the size 8, means it might be a size 9. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just working with what I have at my disposal at the moment. I normally have most of my tools organised by the time I do this, but today I thought I'll be a little bit more unorganised than what I am, and then you guys can learn. It's not very easy to do, but when you do it, the reward is very beneficial. So there's 3 bolts. Normally there's more than 3, but there's 3 holding the top section on. And yeah, after those 3 are off, you can normally pull this top cowling off. It makes life a bit easier when it is off. I normally pull these off before I start putting motors on, but I just chose not to do it this time because I thought it was just going to bolt up and be very, very simple. I've had thought wrong in the beginning, and now I have to fix my mistake. If you have sockets, this job is much easier because it's more designed for all sockets, not really for spanners. But you can make it work with just what you have at your disposal. You just have to get a bit creative with the tools. Now, from memory, there should be only 3 holding this on. I have been wrong in the past, and there's how you take that off. Now with these, it is a centrifugal pull, means those little fins will engage the top of the motor, because there's a little cup on the top here, and it'll catch those flies. So it is turning freely. I'm just going to do just a jury rig startup. I'm just going to find a socket fits on the top. And I am just going to go and spin it with the drill. Just to see if we will start. Makes life a bit easier. It's a lot of people frown upon it because it's not very good for your drill. It's not very good for the motor, but I'm already this far into pulling the top. I've already pulled the top cover off. It'll take just as long to put it back on. But I want to hear it run. Fairly sure you guys want to as well. And if you're still watching at this point, thank you very much. I'm sorry it's taking a little bit longer than some other YouTube videos. But hopefully this will help another person. That's very close. That will work for the time being. I don't like it, but it's just going to have to do. This is not very good on your drill either. Means use with caution. We'll start up, we'll run. One thing it will not have is an idle, because the blades normally give it that retrifical force to idle it down. Means we will try to start this again. We'll start. Now, I'm going to finish the video just here, because it has been going on for a little bit longer. It's nearly been going for an hour. But I'm going to finish the video here. I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to leave it how it is. But hopefully in the next video, you'll see it running. And I'll show you how the running gear works. Or I will do another video on how to put the running gear all together. Putting the running gear together will be the hardest part. I can probably set it up now and see if it will run with it. That is a very big if. It is very difficult. It's normally not very fair on the motors either. Comes the hard part. Okay, I can see what the problem is. Means if we just... Sorry, these guys are so close to my face. Okay, means I'm just going to see if the belt will go on. If it will, might take it for just a quick drive. There's not a lot of tension on there, but we will see if it will drive it. If it will, we'll go for a quick drive, and that's about it. I can put a decent size pulley underneath there, and what that will do is gear it up or down. Okay, means everything else on the bottom half here is put together. This mower is very simple to work on. That's why I actually like it and I prefer it, because it doesn't take a lot to put the running gear together. It only takes, I think, truthfully, 2 belts. It means this is a double belt system. It doesn't take the big single belts. Means these ride-ons here and over there, they both take 1 belt, and that belt would be like this one here, very, very long. But with my one, it takes much smaller belts, and it runs from the motor back to a pulley which is just here, through your idler, means this one keeps tension on it, to your gearbox, or like other people call it, your rear differential. That's roughly about it. It's very simple. We just have to find the carter pin I had on the top of the idler, and then we can try to start it up. If I can't locate that, I will put something else there just for a run. I'm just going to put the phone down. I'm going to have a quick hunt around for this bolt, or for this, I wouldn't say it's a split. It's not a split pin. It's some sort of pin. I can't put the name on it at the moment, but we are going to try to find something to put in there, and then we can run it. Now another thing is as well, when you run these, they might shake a little bit. That's normal. It's just because of, like I said, there's no tension on the motor. It just idles really, really rough. There is a couple of ways to fix that. One of them is you can tune everything to idle down for it, or you can trying to think of the word now. Or you can put a switch on it. I've done that in the past with a couple of models. I've put switches on them because they won't idle down on their own. They will just stay revved up the whole time. Now I couldn't find this pin. Means I've just cut a bit off the old mower frame, just the old idle adjuster. We'll just use that for a name now, idle adjuster. I think that's what its actual name is, but so it doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to hold my bearing in, because that has panel bearings in it. What if they fly out? I'm gonna weld a strife. So now we'll see if we can start without pushing in the clutch. Always make sure you turn that back on. Makes life a bit easier. Okay, like I said, it's gonna rev out. It won't engage. Don't worry about that. That's not the belt smoking. That is the oil burning out of the piston, because it's a 4-stroke and the oil got into the piston. But I might cut the video off there. I'll get all the parts for this off the other mowers, and I'll show you how they go back on. It's vice versa when they come off. It's just one bolt out, one bolt in. Very easy, very simple. This part's trying to get these going again is hit and miss, but we'll get there. I'm going to finish the video here. My name is Shannon. Thank you for watching this video all the way through.